even, where strangers are usually KO'd. Maryland comes high-flying, gifted, athletic, and primed to test Duke, strong inside and outside, young but full of savvy. Tonight, can the Terps take the crazy out of Cameron?
One of the great settings for college basketball, Duke's Cameron Indoor Stadium, number 6 against number 2 in an ACC showdown. We'll get you to Mike Patrick, Dick Vitale, Jay Billis, and the call of the game when you come back.
All right, Mike, thanks very much. We're here at Cameron Indoor, Maryland and Duke. No score. We played 20 seconds. Maryland draws first blood as Terrence Morris scores. Such a huge game for the Terps, who lost their first opportunity at home against the Blue Devils.
Mike, I really believe it's a statement of character game. They're coming off that blowout where they were blitzed by Wake Forest, and they got to respond in a positive way in a hostile environment.
Brand against Akizi, out to Langdon. This is Battier. Good head fake, but he traveled. Let's check the starters for Maryland. Morris, Profit, Akizi, Francis, and Stokes, the familiar 5 for the Blue Devils. Langdon and Brand, the outstanding players, but those role players, Dick, are just tremendous. On any other team, they would be superstars.
Oh, you're talking about Chris Carrawell. He's been a sensational player all year. Very physical. He'll be checking Steve Francis tonight. Hey, Francis had an interesting story today at the shoot-around, Mike. He told me he got a laminated article that was written that Carrawell stopped him cold in the second half of that first meeting, and he asked the SID, Chucky Walsh, he says, get that for me because I want to bring it in my locker. And today he told me he had it in his room at the hotel, and he is looking at that baby.
He really doesn't think he was shut down by Carrawell's defense. He contends he just had a bad game. But Carrawell's done that to a lot of guys.
No. Now, I respect Mr. Francis, but I'm going to flat out tell you, Mike, I was at courtside. Chris Carrawell was a defensive stopper that afternoon.
Akizi, a big center who has gotten better every single year.
You take a look at the shot chart. In the first half, he was 3 for 7, had a solid first half, and it was 37-37, and they had a great crowd down at Cole. The second half, he went 0 for 7. I mean, that's Brick City, USA, baby.
Akizi, the senior from Nigeria, hits the second one. It's 3-0, and here's the Maryland press. Avery through the middle of it. It's 3-on-3, and he'll hold up.
Hard to believe Akizi only had 1 point against Wake Forest.
And Brand ate him up inside. 19 points, 13 boards for Elton Brand. Battier got away from Morris. He'll get the bucket and the foul.
That's one of those unsung heroes. We talk about complementary players. Shane Battier, along with Carrawell. What a tandem they form. Like Kevin Freeman and Ricky Moore at Connecticut. They enter the ball, good 45-degree angle, and there's Battier from Detroit Country Day in the low block scoring. You're not going to win big, Mike, unless you have those kind of unselfish players.
3-2 Terps. The first game was a 37-37 tie at the half. Francis misses from 3.
Second half, Duke made it a 5-on-5 game and took control. He can shoot it.
Avery misses with a long shot. He is only slight percentage points behind Trajan Langdon. Laron Profit at his best on the run. Missed that shot. Both teams a little cold early.
What a pass. What a pass.
Head for the bucket and the foul.
What a pass. Did he drill that baby in there like a rope? And all the Cameron crazies go bananas. What a combination. The A-man to the B-man. And they come up as A+. There's Mr. Avery. He's got great eyes. I know you love him, Mike, and he's going to be a sensational player here.
The foul on Obinna Akizi.
The scary thing, both guys are only in their second year.
Yeah, it really is. This is still a young team as good as they are.
Well, you know, Avery came off the bench last year, and remember this about Brand. He missed so much action with the broken foot. Akizi, nice play.
Down the lane to Morris, but an offensive foul on Obinna Akizi. That is 2 on him.
Ball by Tim Higgins. You and I were talking about this off the air. I think that's a good decision by these conferences, rotating in their best officials.
Especially for games that are this important.
Battier taking the charge. He leads them in that area. There it is, doing a little thing, stepping in. Shane Battier.
The 22nd charge he has drawn this year.
I tell you, I don't like that rule, though. I wish they'd go to the NBA way with that dotted line and really take that away, where you just step in on kids, run to the basket.
Mike Martisic, number 33, the 7-footer is in. Langdon with a miss. Francis skies a rebound.
His number's a little bit down now. They're not really what they were earlier, Mike, but they're making up. Last year they lost games because he got into a little slump. This year they're making up with it with other players.
Nice defense. Battier with the steal.
Hello.
Francis got in trouble when he picked up his dribble, and Carrawell was all over.
Duke is so physical on a defensive end, and this is a really talented Maryland team, as talented as I've seen in many a year.
Mike Krzyzewski told his kids this afternoon, be aggressive. Go after it. Profit with a miss. Stokes gets it back. He doesn't shoot very much. Martisic inside working against Brand. Offensive rebound to Profit, and he's fouled.
Shane Battier. Carrawell puts the pressure on the basketball, but it's Battier who steps in the passing lane and makes the steal and then knows how to finalize and convert. Another second-year player. It's scary to think how good they're going to be next year. Oh, nice play. Oh, but a block by Brand. Hello, here they go. Up and away.
Avery missed, but the follow is good. Nate James running the court gets the tip, and it's 8-3. And Maryland better be careful here, Dick.
Yes, sir. Nate James really fired up. Told me before the game. Almost went to Maryland. He's from St. John's Prospect Hall out in Maryland.
They thought he was going to go to Maryland.
He's had all kinds of injuries. Broken ankle, he's had broken thumb.
Martisic low to Profit. There's the double team.
See, they play off Stokes. They play off Stokes because they know he's not going to shoot the basketball.
LaRon Profit cold early. Brand got away from Martisic. Blocked, but the foul is going to be on Francis. That kid can get up.
He's got great legs, great bounce to his game, a skywalker, a high riser. He just has to learn the art of playing the game without the basketball. He's got skills you can't teach, and there's Brand down in the box. I think the best players in terms of pure talent in America, in pure skills, Francis and Lamar Odom of Rhode Island, but both guys have to learn how to play, and that's the art of moving without the ball, and that comes with experience.
Talent's nice to watch, but it doesn't do you a whole lot of good till the other things come with it.
And, you know, in fairness to him, he hasn't had a whole lot of playing time
That's
in terms
right.
of big games.
Went to 2 junior colleges. And then came to Maryland as a junior. Brand short-armed that one a little bit. Duke's lead is still 5. Francis looking at speed.
So you can't teach that, Mike. You can't teach what he just did there. I mean, that was a balancing act like Baryshnikov in shorts hanging in the air.
8-5 as we approach the 16-minute mark.
Maryland, as we know, likes to press, likes to trap.
Brand. He really elevated over Martisic.
He's got those big, big hands. We talked about that. Stuart Scott, our fine guy over in the studio, did an analysis of his hands versus Michael Jordan. He has a size 10, Jordan a 9 3/4.
10-5, back in a moment.
You know, Maryland's Steve Francis has gotten an awful lot of attention, and rightfully so, but I think Maryland's best player is 6'9" sophomore Terrence Morris. Morris is an outstanding athlete that's got great range. He has the ability to step outside and shoot the ball and shoot it successfully, as he showed hitting the winning shot in overtime against Clemson. His size allows him to post, and he runs the court extremely well. He leads this team in scoring, rebounding, and shooting from both the field and also from the free throw line. That is a very difficult matchup for Shane Battier, who's an outstanding defender, Mike.
All right, Jay, thanks very much. And they say he was painfully shy in high school. Never went to the summer camps, never played on AAU teams. So along with Francis, here's another guy without a lot of experience, and he's just been sensational at Maryland.
I'll tell you, Mike, he's not shy when the ball is in his hands.
Martisic double-teamed low, and what was it? 3-second or walk? He walked.
They call a walk-in violation. That's because of the help that rotated over. There's Gary Williams really upset with their performance against Wake Forest because of the effort. He didn't think they came to play with the kind of intensity that he would expect.
It really looked like they were looking ahead to this game. And you look ahead in the ACC, somebody's going to drill you.
Francis told me that today at the shoot-around. He said, we don't want to admit it, but we were looking ahead.
Carrawell has become quite a scorer as well. Missed that one. Maryland clears, down by 5.
Profit with that rebound. He's a kid that's got big-time numbers for his career. Some of the big games, though, he's disappeared, like in the Stanford game and also in the first matchup with Duke.
Francis came up short on the runner from the lane. It's tipped out of bounds out to the Terps. Of course, coaches love penetration, but when you penetrate against Duke, you end up with 3 guys who can block shots right in your face.
Well, they do a great job rotating help. The big noise out there is for Corey Maggette coming in.
Maggette is out. Carrawell will get a breather.
Maggette can be sensational. His tendency is to rush the action because he's trying to do too much within a 17-minute framework. He knows he's only going to play about 17 minutes.
And Juan Dixon is in for the first time for the Maryland Terrapins off the bench. He has taken and made more three-point shots than anyone else on the team. He has been a wonderfully pleasant surprise for Gary Williams. Dixon, the redshirt freshman out of Baltimore.
He had 18 against Wake Forest, the only guy.
There he is, fresh off the bench, misses the 3. Here comes Duke on the run. Maggette, Profit trailing. May have gotten a piece of the ball. Great hustle by LaRon Profit.
Poor job by Maggette. Should have given the ball up. They had a wide open guy.
Here's the steal by Maggette. 2-on-1. The lob back to him. Tough pass. Good defense inside by Maryland. Maybe on Martisic. It is.
2 opportunities for 2 layups, and they come up empty. Mike could not be happy, Coach K, with the performance of Duke there in transition. Maggette should have given up the ball a little bit earlier, but he made a mistake for you young kids. He had his eyes on the floor. You must be looking up. There's the brain trust of the Dukes. Dukies.
5 team fouls now against Maryland. There's the penetration by Avery. He can't hit the shot. It's out to the Terps.
Jay Billis mentioned Terrence Morris, and I couldn't agree more. If I picked my all-ACC team, I would have Terrence Morris on that club. The kid is shooting 40% from the three-point line, 61% for the year, leads him in scoring and rebounding.
And he's second in the ACC in field goal percentage and third in free throw percentage. He's just been sensational.
He's got those long arms.
Francis
nice
trapped at the baseline to Profit. Wide open. LaRon Profit stone cold. Here's the steal by Francis, and he put it in.
Good anticipation by Francis right there. Profit's been 8 for 35 against Duke in the last 4 games that Maryland has lost. They need something out of him. He is too talented.
Terps go to the zone. Francis with 4, and the lead's cut to 3.
They're playing a box of 1 right now. Francis is playing Avery, ran him into a screen.
And Avery over the screen buries the 3.
What he did is he ran him into the screen. He read the screen really well in the box and 1.
Brand will pick up a foul. Triple header basketball action tomorrow night on ESPN. Starting at 7:30, number 5 Kentucky against Florida in an SEC matchup. Then at 9:30, Conference USA, Memphis against Louisville. At midnight, Iona against Idaho. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Got to make those.
Stokes off the inbound.
Wide open shot. Here's Morris. Very quick, very agile. Hey, I'll be down here for that Kentucky-Florida game with Brad Nessler. Tell the producer down there, Dan Steer, if you hear me, I got your message. I'll be there, Dan.
I'm sure Brad hopes you show up. 13-9. That one spins out as Maggette tries the 3, and it's out to the Terps. Battier is back in for Duke, as is Carrawell.
We're going to watch Terrence Morris working on the offensive glass, and there's long arms, so graceful along that baseline. Super South. This kid has got big-time numbers right there. Second-year player. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year early. At the end of the year, he played a lot.
At the end of the year, he was one of their best players. Martisic over Brand.
Hasn't had the kind of year, Martisic, that they've expected. He was so big when you and I did the game.
The North Carolina game, he was stunning.
Carolina was 17-0 at that time, and he was brilliant off the bench.
Really hasn't approached those kind of numbers since. Maggette.
Shooting the ball too quickly. He's trying to make things happen too early. He's got to make the extra pass.
Dixon got that great stroke from outside. Can't hit it. Duke back the other way. Maggette. And he palmed him. That's an excellent call by Tim Higgins as Maggette came in and tried too much to control the ball.
He is really trying to make things happen. Such a talent. The most talented freshman player in the ACC, even though deservedly so, the Rookie of the Year has got to be the kid at Virginia, Chris Williams, having a heck of a year for Peter Dillon.
To quote you so far, Maryland Brick City, 25%.
Hey, I'm starting to affect you now with terminology.
Marticic with the miss, but the tip is good, and that looked like Lonnie Baxter fresh off the bench. The freshman from Silver Spring, Maryland, he cuts it to 2.
He's going to be a good player, Mike. He had 10 and 7 against Duke and really sparked them at the end of the half when they tied it 37 all.
Carrawell got the roll.
Chris Carrawell. You talk about underrated. I mean, this guy's got a good medium-range jump shot.
The way both these teams can run and the way they can score before it's over, we thought it might be 90-90. They're going to struggle to get their shooting like this.
Because of the defense. Both clubs really get after you defensively. Duke likes to be very physical in their defense.
Dixon switches to the left hand and put it in.
He's going to be a solid player next year when he gets into the starting lineup. Very offensive-minded.
Reach-in foul on Stokes. That's number 1 on Terrell Stokes. That'll be the 6th team foul against Maryland. Juan Dixon, the redshirt freshman from Baltimore, 2-time All-Metro there. He's given him a spark off the bench.
Mike, they're playing a boxing one here with these 4 guys, and then they're playing man-to-man right here on Avery with Francis. Watch how he runs him into a screen. Right here, he's going to run him into a screen. There's the screen. Steps back from the screen. He gets Francis down to the screen, and that's automatic because the kid is shooting better than 40% from the trifecta. William Avery, a star.
15-13. Duke by 2, 11:35 to go first half from Cameron Indoor Stadium, where Duke has won 33 straight, 15 of them ACC opponents.
Number one winning streak right now is Murray State. They've won 40 in a row down there in Kentucky.
Maggette, great pass inside for the easy 2. Maggette hits Carrawell.
Carrawell goes to the goal. They were playing head-to-head on Langdon with 4 people in his zone in that sequence. Gary Williams trying to mix it up. Multi-dimensional defenses.
Miller outside to Baxter. Gary Williams going deep into his bench. Akizi is back in there, got the ball, and then traveled. Albina Akizi, so ineffective in the first meeting of these teams. Ineffective again tonight. Couple of traveling violations and 2 early fouls.
Right here, we're going to see the diagonal passes. They throw the ball up over the top. We're going to see the diagonal. There it is, right through the defense. A great look down to Carrawell by Maggette. They pass the ball so well, their perimeter people. Corey Maggette. Oh, Maggette, oh, they chant here. Look at those points. Almost 11 a game, 16.5 minutes. See, they're playing boxer one right now. They're playing Langdon head-to-head and everybody else zone. Dixon's right in Langdon's face. He knows where Langdon, he's chasing Langdon.
Maggette wheels into the lane, a little out of control, and he lost the ball. His second turnover, he is 0 for 4 shooting. Tough start for the youngster.
Yeah, trying to make things happen too quickly. Gary utilizing those gimmick defenses.
Baxter, good pass from Dixon, and that'll get a foul out of Battier.
Baxter's going to become a solid player when he gets more experience, Mike. He's a guy that really knows how to play on the inside.
How do you mean solid? He's already 6'8", 250.
Yeah, but I mean a solid player. I mean he's solid physically.
Gotcha.
Terminology is so important. I like those glasses on you. Wow, you look like a professor today.
I can see the floor from here.
Wow. Hey, Miami, what a big win they had over St. John's. You talk about heartbreak hotel for Mike Jarvis if they missed that free throw. Losing heartbreaker after heartbreaker at home. Here comes Francis on the floor.
Dixon goes out as Baxter will shoot another one.
Baxter's so physical. Broke the school record, made 10 field goals in a row. And the guy that had that record was 8 for 8 was Gary Williams. He said, my assistants were supposed to tell me. He said, when he got to 7 and better than 7, I want to put him on the sideline.
Duke on the run. Carrawell.
There's that medium range jump shot I talked about with Carrawell.
Carrawell has 6. Akese against the double team. He walked again. Boy, they have really taken Akese out of his game.
Great help defensively, and this is it's a follow-up from the last game against Wake Forest where he had 1 point and 5 rebounds. Look at this right here. Look at the double up. See the rotation down by Battier, and that created a walk-in violation.
Dick, he's a senior now. He's got to know that double's coming, doesn't he?
Yeah, especially a guy that draws the kind of attention that he does.
Langdon can't hit it. The tip won't go. Fight for the rebound. It's out to the Blue Devils. Let's check in with Jay Billis. Jay, what do you have?
Mike, Obinna Akese has really had a problem when he's gotten the ball inside. He's walked with it several times. The reason is he's not reading the defense once he catches the ball. He's catching it, making his move rather than reading what the defense is doing and reacting to it. That's something that Maryland will adjust at halftime. Mike.
All right, Jay, and Gary Williams said he was concerned about that kind of one-on-one play the first time these teams met. They did not play as a team, and they paid for it in the second half. It's a 5-point lead for the Blue Devils.
He's got to get going on the inside. I mean, this kid has got certainly a lot of talent on the interior, and he's got to get post presence.
Gives a screen to Morris. Morris short with the jump shot. 1 and out for the Terps.
Elton Brand does a great job getting good rebounding position. Seals off well.
Carrawell has got the roll.
There's that medium range jump shot again. Chris Carrawell.
Chris Carrawell has 8 in his last 9 games. He's averaged almost 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists a game. He's just been on fire. And you know, Dick, he's a lot like Morris. He doesn't get the publicity, but he gets the important numbers.
Well, because he plays behind 2 guys that get the attention in Trajan Langdon and also in Elton Brand. But Carrawell came up big against St. John's in the overtime.
Akese on the pass to Profit. 2 years ago, Laron Profit does not throw that pass. He takes the shot. A good assist from him.
Yeah, good look by Profit, but really an important basket for Akese.
Langdon hits the bucket and draws the foul.
He's been in a little bit shooting slump, but I'll tell you one thing. The Alaskan Assassin, if I can have a guy shoot the rock for me in a big shot, I want a guy like Langdon or Jason Terry down in Arizona. Khalid El-Amin, there he is, squaring his body, knocking it down. Big-time shooter.
Langdon at the free throw line, number 2 all-time in ACC history in free throw percentage. Now chasing Wake Forest Charlie Davis for that all-time lead. He's 0.2 percentage point behind him.
He's got to get on a real roll. He can't afford to miss any. You slip when you're especially around that 90% mark.
He's going to have to make about 25 in a row to get back up there.
He's capable.
Oh, absolutely.
See, they're playing way off Akese. Look at Brand. He's saying again, you want to shoot that shot?
Lazy pass picked by Battier.
Hello! Look at that quickness. Battier with a little explosion to the rack, baby. And the Cameron crazies love it. What an environment. This place is electricity.
If you don't fire every pass, they've got it.
They anticipate so well, Mike. Take a look here. That's a dangerous pass, that lateral pass. You got to step to the ball. There's Battier being chased by the high flyer Morris. Right into our cameraman. Look at those long arms. Long arms. My friends, this is how you win basketball games, with kids like Battier and Carrawell who hug one another. You don't read their names, Mike, as you said earlier, in the headlines.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they select an ACC team right now, Chris Carrawell's got to be on mine. He is a great, great player.
Well, you know, Bill Brill, who writes down here, and I'm telling you, he knows his basketball. I think his argument might be right. He says, you know what? How do you not put guys like Carrawell, Avery, Langdon, Brand, put the whole team on if they go undefeated? Can't do that. I gotta also put a postscript to that. Bill Brill went to Duke.
Does make a difference, doesn't it? Yeah. Battier makes it an 11-point lead, biggest of the game for the Blue Devils.
Look at this change, going to a full court trap, a la Duke, a la Maryland rather, 1-2-1-1.
Francis, the lob to Profit. Steve Francis did a great job breaking the press and then returns the favor to Laron Profit.
I'll tell you, Maryland certainly must have an unbelievable human highlights game.
Battier with a lean in. Akese tried to draw the charge and couldn't. Bad pass the other way, and Avery will come right back.
Avery really making like a defensive back.
Battier.
Oh! It's Battier's night. Remember the name, B-A-T-T-I-E-R. They call him Shane. They this kid. I love this kid. That's a big-time player.
Morris quiets the crowd.
He stopped Uncle momentum right there, Mike.
Uncle Mo was getting ready to run him out of the gym.
Yeah, Uncle Mo was really on the Duke side.
Brand backing in, fall away over Akizi and short. There's the rebound, and Battier will get an over-the-back foul as Francis got the rebound.
Duke trying to be the first team to go undefeated in the ACC since 1992 when they expanded to 9 teams.
Imagine a play.
Duke with an 11-point lead over Maryland, and in this first half, Shane Battier has made this game his very own. He has 12 points, but I thought really set the tone defensively when he waited for Obinna Ekezie and took that charge. That got him going off his defense. He stepped in front, made the layup off the steal, and then hits the big three. Maryland has got to use some pass fakes because Shane Battier is just jumping out into the passing lane with impunity. Mike?
Jay, as you well know, here at Duke, they pride themselves on defense. They have had 3 National Defensive Players of the Year under Mike Krzyzewski, and they're getting it done with defense again, and Maryland trying to answer on the other end. There's Battier getting some rest. It's
nice
very hot in here again.
Nice you can take a Battier out of the lineup and you rotate somebody in like a Burgess. But that was a big play right there by Profit. Going to the basket, making the big score. Profit now stepping up the senior. He's trying to make the big play. Attacks the defense right into the gap and seam. Gets the conversion from out of Delaware. They produced a lot of good high school players that come into college out of Delaware.
The one thing the Maryland players did this year, Dick, their numbers are all going down because of the presence of Steve Francis, and no one is whining about it. They're playing as a team, and that's why they have been so successful.
Well, they're 19-3. They've really had one game that was bad and a half that was bad against Duke. Stokes not a little happy right there, sitting at the end of the pine, the senior.
Stokes leads the ACC. He has better than a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That is remarkable in this conference.
Yeah, he really passes the ball exceptionally well. Doesn't think offense in terms of shot, so people play off the ball. Dixon chasing Avery all over the floor.
Maggette telegraphed that pass, nearly had it stolen. Kicks this one over to Avery for 3. Rimmed out. Burgess tried the fancy follow and missed. 2-on-1. Francis takes it himself, partially blocked. The follow is good by Dixon.
I'll tell you, Francis with that good look, hanging in the air, was thinking shot and bumped into Dixon.
Maryland on an 8-0 run. They've cut the lead back to 6. Avery, oh, great stop to get open. What a play.
What a big play, but what about, and I see you called it, Mike, they were up 6 against NC State. He made 3 big baskets in a row.
Profit back the other way. If this is an up-tempo game, it could go down to who has the ball last.
If you go up and down and you run this court, I give the edge to Maryland. They love the transition game.
Carrawell.
Not that Duke doesn't like transition, but in a game against Maryland, that is Maryland's absolute strength. Run, run, run. Look at this, Virginia up on Wake Forest. How do you figure? And they just beat the heck out of Maryland.
Virginia is getting better.
Oh, Peter Gillen, wait till he gets his players next year. He's got some outstanding talent coming in.
He already leads the ACC in one-liners. Pretty soon he'll have enough talent to be competitive.
Yeah, when he gets those players, the one-liners even get funny.
They're hilarious.
Nobody had the one-liners with our guy Jimmy B, though, I'll tell you. Especially when he had the national championship team.
He could crack you in a minute.
Oh, he can make you laugh. He should have been really part of a sitcom. I thought he was Seinfeld before Seinfeld.
Brand is back in at the 6:26 mark. These two teams 1 and 2 in the nation in scoring.
Yeah, they really get up and down the floor. And we look at Duke, we talked about the transition of Maryland. Duke has so many weapons with an Avery, a guy on the interior, Brand. Look at the numbers right here. Scoring margin. Both clubs have been superb.
Dixon looking inside. There's the lob. It's tipped away. Burgess with a steal. Burgess actually caught the ball when he was out of bounds, so it'll go back to Maryland.
They tried to throw that diagonal pass up there for the lob and get that layup, but Duke anticipated well. So both these clubs have scouted each other so intensely.
LaRon Profit has really matured as a basketball player.
You know, you see Profit's numbers for his career. They really are outstanding when you look at his numbers in scoring and rebounding and steals.
Boy, he is wonderfully athletic.
It's so unfortunate that he's had those bad moments against big-time teams.
Dixon got caught up and he traveled. Maryland has had a real problem picking up a dribble deep inside under pressure and then turning it over. That's 8 turnovers for the Terps.
I like what Davey Odom said. He said the reason that Duke has been so successful with Maryland is that Duke loves teams that press. They really love that.
It fits their aggressive style. Brand, fade away. Burgess with a rebound, knocked away, and picked up by Langdon. He is fouled by Dixon.
And it's really difficult, Mike, to change your personality as a team because someone may come back and say, well, why do they pressure or why do they attack? I mean, that is their style of play, Maryland.
You have to be what you are.
I know, that's what I try to be, very shy and introverted because that's the kind of guy I am. I was so shy yesterday, you'd be proud of me at the University of Findlay. The mayor proclaimed Findlay Day for Dickie V. I couldn't believe it. I got a proclamation.
The University of what?
Findlay down in Ohio. Beautiful school. The president was a great guy, Mr.
I'm
Zerpa.
sure it is, but I want to find a school where you're shy and retiring. It'd be the school of the IRA, wouldn't it?
On his kick and shoot free throws.
Got a brilliant stroke. 37-28 the lead, back to 9. 5:40 to go. First half of play from Cameron Indoor. Mike Patrick along with Dick Vitale. Glad to have you with us. Jay Billis down courtside, adding his expertise to this game.
Nate James right now trying to get physical on Mr. Francis.
Francis comes outside over James and buries the 3.
You know what I like about Steve Francis? Talking to him today, Mike, at the shoot-around. He really is a quality young man, and he knows he has a long way yet to go with his game.
James works with the left hand, got in the lane, got caught up, had to line drive a shot over Profit. Excellent defense by Maryland. Here comes Stokes.
Maryland really playing well. Could have folded when Duke went on an unbelievable run.
Stokes got it to Baxter, and Baxter with a jump hook. Guess what? It's a 4-point game.
They're not going to go away tonight. I mean, they're playing with purpose. They look focused, and they're playing with some emotion.
They could have been rattled very easily. They were not.
And Baxter really doing an excellent job off the bench. Bad pass right there.
Bad pass by Morris.
With steal,
Profit got it right back, though. And now Stokes will reset.
From out of Delaware, as I said, the backcourt from Xavier's from Delaware. Lumpkin and Brown.
Francis for 2 in a row. Can't hit this one. Brand with a rebound. Even with all those missed shots early, 4.5 minutes to go in the half, they've still scored a combined 70 points. James, that should be an offensive foul, and it is. LaRon Profit stepped in the way and drew the charge on Nate James.
LaRon making some big plays as you look at the former West Point cadet, played for the General Robert Montgomery Knight, coached at West Point, was an assistant at Indiana. He's had a fair career, I would say, Mr. Krzyzewski.
One of 10 coaches to win 500 games in his career, and boy, he is far from done. That one hit may be finished in April, but the rest of them just fine. Stokes catch it. Morris, plenty of time to set and missed it anyway.
Well, he was thinking too much on that shot. Just
Francis
shoot it.
Had it partially blocked. Battier comes down with it, had the presence to get it to Avery. Nice defense by Stokes against Avery. Both teams trotting out the A defense tonight. 3-on-2. Francis knocked away by Langdon.
Nice
good
pass
to Morris, and he charged. Guess who? Shane Battier.
There's Mr. Battier taking another charge. He's been doing it. They give an award out for guys that take charges, and oh, does Shane Battier take the charge.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining the journey number 9.
Takes it to the Shoemaker Center in Cincinnati where the Bearcats are blowing out Tulane. Here's Melvin Levitt. You recall he hit the shot that beat Duke back in November. So Mike and Dick, there's the question. The Bearcats at 21-1. Do they have a claim at number 1 when the new poll comes out?
Well, I think they do. I think they're a tremendous basketball team, and certainly their win over Duke was no fluke.
Oh, none at all. I mean, what the hurt they put on against Louisville at Louisville was an unbelievable 81-55, and they were scary. How good. Hey, everybody, look how high we are, Mike. We're not sweating today. They got fans.
Do you know what I feel bad about, though, is Connecticut losing number 1 because they had 2 guys hurt.
That's a shame. Hotel. You'd like to see the number 1 team, if they're going to get beat at full strength. They're supposed to have Richard Hamilton back Saturday. Brent Musburger and I will be doing that game on ABC against Stanford, and that's going to be a tough test because Stanford is excellent, and Maples Pavilion is a special place. That place is a mini version of right here, what we got here at Duke.
Unfortunately, Voskuhl is out indefinitely for them with that stress fracture in his foot.
You can't afford, when you're chasing a national championship, you can't afford to lose any key part of your club. People were telling me today, well, who's Voskuhl? Well, who's Voskuhl? He's their best inside player. He's a big player. He gives them size. He's their goalie defensively, and he passes the ball well. Plus, he's a winner.
We understand a late update on Voskuhl. He is going to practice tomorrow.
Wow, that's big news.
That would be wonderful if he would be able to come back.
That is big news.
I guess there are stress fractures and there are stress fractures. Baxter from 17 got the bounce.
What a
got a nice touch for a kid that big.
He's had an excellent performance here in the first half off the bench.
7 points, and he cuts the lead to 3.
And they needed him because Obina has not been Obina. That man-to-man defense, trying to get the good angles. They really work on getting angles to get the ball into the post.
Miller with a tie-up, excellent defense, and Brand kicks it out of bounds. Danny Miller came down with a double team.
He's from out of New Jersey. Danny Miller is a kid capable of making big shots from the perimeter. You look at Obina Kesey on the sideline. Now watch the help rotate down. See Miller now? He's going to rotate down and double up on the All-American. You talk about a guy that's getting a lot of attention for potential player of the year. It's Elton Brand, but don't forget Andre Miller. What a year he's having for Rick Majerus down at Utah. And so is Jason Terry down there at Arizona.
Tim Higgins, John Clougherty, and Rick Hartzell are the officials. I think they have done an exceptional job tonight in a very big, important game. Brand with a rebound. Fight for the ball. He just muscles it away from everybody to James.
Hey, James getting a lot of quality time. Wide open. They missed James. He was wide open.
Langdon has not played that much tonight.
Langdon has not been effective like he was in the first 17 games. And his numbers show that.
Brand against the triple team with a miss. Got it back, then he's fouled by Miller, who came over the top.
Mike, you talk about Trajan Langdon, you just mentioned it. In his first 17 games, he was shooting so well. 49%, 46 from the three-point line. And now, in the last few games, he's been shooting 35% and 34 from the three.
Elton Brand had 3 straight ACC Player of the Week honors. In the history of this conference, nobody ever got a 3 in a row. When you say nobody, there were a lot of somebodies that came through the ACC.
Oh, there's been some players. You know, you mentioned 3 in a row. If Duke were to win the regular season ACC title, that would be 3 consecutive, and the last team to do it was the great Phil Ford era, 76, 77, 78, North Carolina. And what a job Guthridge has done when you think about losing the likes of, we've said this now, losing the likes of Carter and Jamison and Williams.
Martisic down low, telegraphed the pass, and Avery in the lane against Stokes.
They usually make you pay after the turnover. There's William Avery making that big play, going to the basket. What a point guard he has become. Certainly one of the 5 best in America.
Martisic short on a jumper. Maybe not the shot that Gary Williams wanted out of that possession.
Has that unique ability as a point guard. Look at that pass he made.
And then Brand got inside of Martisic.
What a great pass, though, Mike. What a great pass. What a great pass. He gave him the bounce pass with the right 45-degree angle. When I think of the great point guards, you think of Miller at Utah, Jason Terry at Arizona, Elamine at Connecticut, and you certainly Coda, and you got to think of this kid. We're going to watch right here. We're going to see the steal. Avery showing all of his ability, his versatility. Now look, a little shake and bake, take it to the goal and score. And then we're going to show you the way he feeds the post. A lost art. There's the bounce pass to the post. I thought, I'm going to take you back for many a year. I thought the best guy I've ever seen feeding the post was a kid at Syracuse by the name of Pearl Washington.
Oh, he was terrific.
Terrific kid. He had great ability in finding that guy down in the low blocks.
The Terps have turned the ball over 11 times in the first 18 minutes of the game. They only averaged 16. And they turned it over an awful lot in the first meeting against Duke. James kicked that ball to get a fresh 35 on the shot clock.
The second half, what happened in that game with Duke, they broke down, and it wasn't really a great streak by Duke. It was methodically done, and they just kept wearing away, playing them 5-on-5, and that's where Maryland really struggled.
Both coaches going very deep into their bench. It's extremely hot here again tonight. Francis with the 3 over Nate James. He has hit 2 with James on him defensively. 6 of his 10 points.
What I like about him here in this game, he has not tried to force the action. I really thought, talking to him today and reading his quotes, that he was going to come out here going one-on-one. There's Mr. Carroll, another big shot.
Carroll open for 3. He has 13 points. He rarely shoots from long range, but it looks like he's getting better at it.
I'll tell you, Mike, you're so right. That kid is no longer just an underrated player. He's becoming a star.
Too tall by Profit. The 12th turnover for Maryland.
They struggle against St. John's. Who makes the big plays in the overtime? Chris Carrawell. We see them on the ropes here with North Carolina. I mean, in a tough situation, he makes the 2 big steals at the end of the game. I mean, he makes so many big plays for them all year long.
Carrawell, a junior. Battier is a sophomore.
It's a danger time now for Maryland. You don't want Duke to go in with a double-figure lead. You want to shut them down here and go back the other way with a score.
Good defense by Akizi. Another block underneath, but the follow is good.
They just hang around that basket. So many weapons. You can't relax against any player on that floor for Duke.
That will draw a foul from Maggette as Akizi tried to put it up. Coming up at halftime, Chris Fowler, Brad Daugherty in the studio. They'll update you on the upset in the Big East. Take a look at number 12, Wisconsin against number 19, Indiana. You will also see third-ranked Cincinnati in action this evening.
If Wisconsin and our boss, our chief honcho from ESPN and ABC in sports, Steve Bornstein's got to be proud of his alma mater, Wisconsin right now. If they were to win tonight, they become the first Wisconsin team as he makes the free throw. You ready for this? They become the first team to win 20 games since 1941. I was 2 years old then, man. I was a diaper dandy.
You weren't 2 years old.
I was 2 years old then. I still act 2.
You were 22.
I still act 2. Oh, what a way to make a living.
You'd already come back from the Spanish-American War. 49-40. Duke with the lead. 35 seconds to go first half.
Civil War, 1861 to 65. I know my history.
James. Long rebound to Elton Brand. They can play for 1 shot.
Now they're going to manage the clock, play intelligently, get the timeout.
You know, I like this timeout. There's no sense to take it to the locker room.
Exactly.
You might as well use it, set up a play, try to get another bucket. That's why he's won over 500 games. Just one of the reasons. Coming up Saturday on the Deuce, Duke will go down to Georgia Tech to battle the Yellow Jackets at 1 o'clock. The game's subject to blackout. Then at midnight, number 24, Utah against BYU. If you want more information, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network, go.com. Right now, it's Go Duke. They're up by 9 with 22.1 seconds to go first half.
Hey, Mike, I'd like to say this to someone that's watching us here tonight, Harold Pump out there in California. I know his sons, beautiful young guys, Dave and Dana, and they're really concerned about their dad who's battling cancer, and he's a big basketball fan. Harold, Mike, and I send our best wishes. Enjoy the game and listen to your medical team, and your sons love you, big fella. They love you dearly.
Very nicely said, Dick. Duke waiting for that last shot. The 5-second count going on right now as Brand is not the guy you want handling it out there. Carrawell lost it. The ball was tipped. Down to 8 seconds. Langdon trying to get a shot. Francis knocked that out of bounds. We're down to 6.5. Duke has not handled the ball very well since they called a timeout. That's credit's got to go to Maryland's defense.
Exactly. Poor job by Duke, but you got to really look at what Maryland was very aggressive on that defensive stop. They want to stop here. They don't want to go in. Psychologically, you go in down by more than, wide open. You should have, what a feed to pass. What a look by Avery.
Avery, just a sensational little nonchalant pass.
They waved it off.
Say the basket doesn't count. The foul came before. But what a look by Avery.
Yeah, so unselfish. And that's a trademark of a team like Duke, Connecticut, teams that are up on top, Cincinnati. They play unselfishly, always looking for one another. And that's the way you have to win. And Maryland's been that way all year. I still like this Maryland club. I think they're going to make a lot of noise in tournament time. They're just too talented. And they're running into a buzzsaw in this conference, Duke.
There's the miss by Trajan Langdon.
That's so rare. But his numbers really have come down. And it was the same thing last year, Mike. His numbers came down at the end of the year. Could be a little fatigue.
It's the second one. The lead is 10 with 5 seconds to go. So Gary Williams made a nice adjustment during that timeout, changed his defense, came out much more aggressive.
I'll tell you, Duke's had to really play fairly well here because Maryland came to play here in his first half.
Francis between a double team, and he traveled.
Yeah, good call by Timmy Higgins. I like the idea. John Clockery actually made that call. I like the idea of bringing in the big-time officials from other conferences in a major game like this.
The lead is 10, and Duke will get one final crack at it. Burgess. And short.
Larry Williams got to make some adjustments at halftime, but this game is far from over with the way they can score, Maryland.
Chris Carrawell and Shane Battier both come through with big first-half points. They combine for 25. That's the story from Cameron Indoor. Right now, let's go back to the studio and join Chris Fowler.
All right, Mike, thanks, and Brad Doherty joins me. Maryland showed some grit, 32-18. Then Morris hits the big three-pointer, got the lead down to 3, and then...
Well, Duke's done what they've done all year. They just went right back inside, got the ball to Brand on the block. He made a strong, powerful move. Next time down, they went to him again. He kicks it back out to the outside, loosens up some things. They're just going back to bread and butter.
And you can't win at Cameron as a road team playing in spurts. But he wants everybody to know he was 3-1 in Cameron.
That's right.
I looked it up. Michael was 3-0, though.
That's right. Well,
you got a high school team, West Springfield, Mass. You're just wishing to get recruited to play at Cameron. Not going to happen, fellas. Coming up in our Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Scores and highlights. Cincinnati, do they have a claim to the #1 team in the country? They take on Tulane tonight, and they're blowing them out at the Shoe. We're back at halftime. Where's my money? Where's the...
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by United Airlines. Rising is a daily commitment to making flying more civilized. United is rising. And by Toyota. Toyota, every day belongs to you. Make it count. ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you to think when you drink.
Steve Francis had 10 points in the first half, the exact number he had in the first half. The first time these two teams met, the difference was the score at halftime up at College Park was 37-37, and then Duke exploded in the second half. Maryland started to play too much man-to-man kind of stuff, not team play, and they got blown out at home. They have to avoid that kind of mistake in the second half here.
I think the first four minutes after halftime becomes essential in a lot of games, and tonight specifically, Maryland's got to go on a spurt right here. They cannot allow Duke to get a spurt in the first 4 minutes because they can break this baby open. But I'll tell you, in the first half, Shane Battier was sensational. There he is taking the charge. There he is anticipating, stepping in the passing lane and converting. And we see him again, anticipating well, making the steal and finishing. Had a big half. And then his buddy, Chris Carrawell, forming that unsung hero tandem. Knocks down the trifecta, shows he's got the medium-range jumper. Between both guys, Mike, they had 25 points and did a sensational job defensively as well.
Battier, by the way, had 8 straight points for Duke in a span of 32 seconds. That's the kind of burst you were talking about.
And really, credit to Maryland not folding when Duke went up 32-18, as Chris Fowler alluded to in the studio. Came back, made it really a close game, but now they need a little spurt.
Akese, who was in foul trouble early, very patient that time and scored.
Mike, remember you and I did the game. He was shut out in the first half against North Carolina and came in the second half, Akese, and dominated and leading to the win at Chapel Hill.
Langdon with a standstill 3, missed it, dives for the loose ball and can't get it.
I really believe that Trajan Langdon is not shooting the ball with the same kind of fluidness that he shot earlier this year. I think he's thinking with each shot.
He's missed all 4 from long range tonight. and has been in a slump coming in.
He's from out of Alaska. They got a coach here. You and I saw him today from out of Alaska. Coaches a great high school player, Carlos Boozer, who's narrowed his choices to Duke, UCLA, and St. John's.
Akese again. Obviously, this was a game plan for Gary Williams coming out of the locker room. He's hit 1 of 2.
Yeah, go right to the big fella and get post presence inside.
Great pass by Carrawell.
And do they get post presence with Mr. Brand, the wide body, the space eater, the sophomore from Peekskill, New York?
Brand now has 10, the lead back to 10.
That used to be the training territory of the Jets, Peekskill.
Francis against Carrawell. This time he'll draw the foul. Jay Billis, the third member of our broadcast crew. Jay, what do you have for us?
Maryland 13, and Duke did a great job of scoring off those turnovers. Maryland gave up 50 points in that first half. A lot of it their own offense turning the ball over and feeding Duke's offense. Mike?
I'll tell you one thing. I want to come back coach again. I want to coach the ESPN crew. I'll have Billis and Doherty. I'll go get Billy Raftery, who can stroke it, Larry Conley from out of Kentucky, and I'll put you in a lineup with those 4 and we can win.
As long as you're not a player, coach, it works.
I'm going to get Fowler to be my assistant, and Digger Phelps will make him the general manager.
Francis hits 1 of 2. He's an 80% free throw shooter.
Oh, I just decided I'm throwing you out of the lineup, and I'm putting Lynn Elmore in the lineup to rebound.
There you go.
The best rebounder ever at Maryland.
52-43, 18-49 and counting in this game. Avery, who was perfect in the first half. 6 assists, no turnovers. Brand over Akese. Carrawell, offensive rebound.
Second and third shots. Look at that athletic ability to make that catch.
Carrawell hangs in the lane. Profit with a rebound.
Steve Francis really not looking to force shots being played by Langdon right now. Could be a little too quick for Langdon.
Behind him was Battier, may have gotten a piece of it. Akese offensive rebound. Brand just waited for it.
Elton Brand really anticipated. Let him run the court. He's the first guy down the floor. They missed him.
Carrawell, I was right the first time, left alone, and he goes in and charges a little bit out of control. If you get that much of a run, somebody's going to step in.
Well, you know, Eric, Elton Brand was wide open. He ran the court, and they missed him. He blocked the shot, and he was the first guy down in transition. The big fella has really become a quicker player.
Trajan Langdon picks up his 3rd personal foul. Langdon has only scored 5 points. Check it. They're going to give that one to Carrawell. That's his 3rd. Langdon remains with 2. And Nate James was up to get in the ball game.
Executing on a half-court game, so important. That's been a problem for Maryland. And there's another example. Don't come up with a good shot.
Morris very frustrated on that travel call, and so is Gary Williams. He didn't like that one at all.
What basketball pride Gary's brought back since taking over when he was named coach at Maryland, his alma mater. Has such a passion and love for the university.
People forget what a mess he inherited.
They couldn't play on TV. They didn't get in, weren't able to go to the tournament in '91.
Nate James with a steal from Morris. Langdon for 3. Got it!
And that time he just took the ball and he shot it. There was no thinking. Just caught the basketball and shot it. That's the Alaskan assassin.
Francis, that great step to get inside, but what help defense by Shane Battier.
Great call, Mike. Shane Battier stepped right in the driving lane.
Langdon again.
Can't give him the good look. He can break the game open. The Alaskan assassin's on fire, baby.
Gary Williams gets a timeout and has a word right in John Clockerty's ear at the same time.
Can't allow him to square his body and get a good look. You got to get a hand in his face, and you got to bother him, Mike.
Dick, you know shooters, no matter what kind of slump they've been in, if they hit one, their eyes light up.
No question. And he's a rhythm shooter. He squares his body exceptionally well. He's got that great release. He's going to make a lot of money at the next level because he will be like a Stevie Kerr who's made a living in the NBA, coming off the bench, making big shots at the trifecta. He'll make somebody's team. He's a winner. He's a worker. He's got great attitude, a good basketball IQ.
Second to Christian Laettner at Duke in career three-point percentage. Laettner shot 48% for his career.
Laettner is all-time the leader in the ACC. That is hard to believe. Reunited now with his former teammate at Detroit. There he is with Grant Hill.
The lead is 15. Stokes goes baseline. Kicks it outside for three. That is a big-time shot by Francis. They needed it.
And it's a big shot. Really tries to quiet that momentum down. Francis squared his body.
And a nice job by Stokes to find him. Brand, there's the double down, and James wide open.
Oh, you can't double him up that easily. He has learned the art of recognizing the open man when he's doubled up. Well, he should know that. He goes to Duke mathematically. If two's on him, he knows that somebody's got to be open.
Dick, right now, that's one of the big differences in the game as Morris will try around the screen, is that when Akizi has been double-teamed, he hasn't found the open man. Brand has.
Is Brand running the court? He was, again, the first guy down the floor. Give it to him. Give it to him in the lane. He was wide open.
Fall-away jumper. There's the tip. Nate James.
Got to get a TO, Gary. Got to get a TO. This team is on fire, baby.
62-46. The #1 scoring team in the country is exploding, and Francis misses a three.
Duke is really playing well. It's not so much that Maryland's playing badly. They are playing so well now, Duke, in its execution.
Terrell Stokes thought he had a block. Instead, he comes up with the foul, his second.
Their offensive efficiency is absolutely unreal. If you were to chart each possession, Dean Smith does a great job over the years. He has done that at North Carolina. A lot of people now have adopted that system. They come out really graded very high.
And right now, Dick, those Maryland players know they are really facing a juggernaut here in the person of the Duke Blue Devils.
They got a great chance to run the table and go undefeated in the conference.
And they will be #1 come Monday morning.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. If they continue and win both games this week.
64-46. He will get yet another. They could make this a 19-point lead. It would be the biggest of the ball game as Gary Williams goes to his bench. Francis, who's hit a couple of big threes here in the second half, but it hasn't been nearly enough.
They're a rested team. You know, they went through a stretch where they're playing so often against tough competition, and then they haven't played since Saturday. Mike said, we are rested and ready to play, he told me today.
And they're up by 19.
Duke in their transition game, and the #1 option, they're going to look to go to the three to Mr. Langdon. Right here, we watch it. Freeze it. See, right here. He is already looking that this guy's going to go spot up here and shoot the three. There's the kick out. They're squaring his body. Not a hand on him. He's like playing the horse right there, and it's NBN. Nothing but nylon by Trajan Langdon.
One of the great shooters of all time with 304 in his career. He is not going to catch Curtis Staples. Curtis Staples is one guy I got right. The first time I saw him shoot at Virginia, I said, this guy is going to set every record in the book.
Well, you were right, Mike. I'll tell you, he had one of the quickest guns in the business.
Oh, man, there's no way you could block it. Duke on a 15-3 run in the last 2 minutes and 24 seconds. An amazing stat for you. Profit, Morris, neither one has scored in the second half. Only one Duke player in double figures. That's Steve Francis.
You know, Profit was the MVP in Puerto Rico when they had the big win over, well, they beat some quality teams out there. Maryland and beat UCLA, and they also beat Pittsburgh after Pittsburgh beat Kentucky. Hey, mentioning Pittsburgh, I'll tell you one thing. If I was the AD down there, I'd take a look at Quinn Snyder as a potential coach. He could be a Tommy Amaker. And another guy, Paul Hewitt down at Siena. He's 18-2. He used to be an assistant at Villanova. And, of course, another obvious guy, Fran Fraschilla. Those are the three I'd look at.
How bad of a week was it for Pitt? The last time they got on an airplane, somebody proclaimed he was a terrorist, and they had to land the plane, search for 2 hours for the luggage before they could go.
Unreal. And Ralph's a quality guy. I thought he was going to be a real star in Pittsburgh. Had a lot of injuries, but he will surface somewhere. I know Rick Pitino thinks the world of him.
Morris will try a three, rimmed out on him. The rebound to Avery. The lead, 65-48. Langdon, good head fake.
I'm amazed how Elton Brand is always the first guy down the floor, Mike. Every time you look, he's the first guy down.
He hustles on every play. Nate James adjusts in the air.
Duke does a great job of occupying the triangle inside inside and getting into the low blocks. They always have those 2 low blocks covered for rebound in position and also to receive a pass.
Duke has 6 men in double figures in this game. They lead 67-48.
They are playing like a #1 team in America tonight.
Battier for 3.
They are playing like a #1 team in America. You bring anybody down the way they're playing now, and man, they are going to post another gold trophy here if they continue to play like this come March.
They are beating a 19-3 team by 22.
And I mean beating them in every phase of the game right now. Look at his
Stokes trying to get it inside to Morris. You can just see the frustration on the face of not only Gary Williams, but every player. Each time they make a mistake, they know it just gets worse.
What a defensive play right there by Battier. The way he came over in post position, trying to front the post and created the turnover.
Right now, the Duke Blue Devils are eating Maryland's lunch and the bag it came in.
I really feel, I'll tell you, that's a great line. But I'll tell you, Mike, I feel it's tough to really take away Connecticut until somebody proves to me they can beat them when they're at full force. I really believe that. I almost put an asterisk. Certainly Syracuse gets the win, deserves the win. But really, that was not the Connecticut team.
Battier leans in. It is 72-48. Shane Battier with 17 points. That ties his season's high. Profit back the other way, bricked it off the glass. It'll be Maryland's ball.
Shane Battier has really been aggressive tonight offensively. What a beautiful kid he is, too. You and I were commenting off the year. The one thing about kids like Battier and Avery and Brand, just really quality kids. I mean, they really represent that term student athlete.
Well, they're kids you'd like to sit down and talk to, not necessarily about basketball.
Exactly.
They ought to go back and look at the movie Shane and come up with some good lines from that.
I know you're a movie buff. I heard you today talking about Cary Grant. I mean, unreal. See, people think we just talk basketball.
Up here we do. Down there we don't. 72-48. Maryland has hit only 2 of 12 field goals before that shot the entire second half.
Yeah, Baxter's really been an excellent player for them. He has come in and given them some positive minutes for Gary Williams. Had 11 in a row, as I said, broke a school record against South Carolina State. But he broke Gary Williams' record, who had 8 in a row. And he said, hey, I got mine against South Carolina.
Baxter, a front court starter of the future, makes it a 3-point play. He has 10 off the bench. He played very well in the first one.
Full court trap. They bump on Nate James. Told me today he really gets excited to play the game, but a little bit more even when he sees the Maryland uniform, being from the state of Maryland.
Look at this. 6 guys in double figures led by Battier and Carrawell. They have combined for 30.
I'll tell you, that is such balance, and that's why they're so difficult to defend. You don't know where to go with your scouting report and telling your kids how to give help on certain guys. They all can hurt you.
Avery, great move to get free. Missed the shot. Picks up the loose ball to Burgess. This will be a jump ball situation, and that one should go to Maryland and does. Now, Burgess may have gotten carried away, made one too many moves down there, and lost the ball in traffic.
I'll tell you, a team that's very physical, who can match up with Duke in terms of physical ability, is Stanford. Stanford's very physical with Madsen and Young and Sauer, and their backcourt can play as well in Weems and Lee.
Timeout on the court, 13-14 to go. The lead has grown to 21. Duke with the lead. They have only 9 scholarship players on this team, but Coach Ken and his staff covered a lot of terrain putting this club together. First, the recruiting trip you only want to take in the summer, Anchorage, Alaska for Trajan Langdon. Then they went to New Mexico and got the big guy Taman Domzowski, off to St. Louis for Chris Carrawell, and then back to Washington, D.C. for Nate James. The 4 scholarship sophomores, anywhere from Peekskill, New York to Irvine, California. The lone freshman, Corey Maggette, from the Heartland in Illinois.
I'll tell you, that's the magic of the name Duke. Certainly one of the great institutions academically. I think the best 3 private schools in the nation as we watch that pass on the inside.
Burgess with a block. Great play against Martisic. They're hitting on all cylinders. Battier Battier for three.
I'll tell you, he becomes such a threat offensively, added to his defensive ability. Now he becomes a really special player.
75-51. Battier, a career-high 20 points. Dixon tried to put it in. The follow goes 75-53.
Mike, I was mentioning three of the great private schools where they win athletically as well as academically. I really believe in all sports you got to talk about Duke, Notre Dame, and Stanford.
Three more. Battier on fire.
Shane Battier has really come out party in terms of starting offensively.
Juan Dixon. Baxter offensive rebound, and he scores.
Shane Battier's effort tonight, the way he's played with so much energy, so much enthusiasm, the effort, I really believe set the tone for his teammates tonight.
Carrawell to Battier. James was wide open. That one is knocked away. Maryland ball. They need a huge run to make this interesting. Profit for three. Can't hit it. Knocked out of bounds to Maryland. Everybody kept waiting for Maryland to make that second half run against Wake Forest. It didn't happen. They played their poorest game of the year, but they're not playing anybody that's going to be too easy to come back on tonight.
There's Shane Battier with that great stroke tonight. A nice follow through. Standing for their guy Shane. He's a BMOC now, a big man on campus, Mr. Basketball in the Motor City. No, Michigan, the whole state, not just Detroit.
He has always said, doing the little things is my job. Well, getting 23 points tonight, a career high, does not qualify as a little thing. He was huge tonight.
And there's Quinn Snyder talking to him. He says, Shane, you could do a little better than that, Shane. You and right now, Nate, we could get a little more out of you. I mean, come on now. 23 points and an excellent defensive effort. Obina Kesey really struggling in his last two games.
Misses this one. He had 1 point against Wake Forest. You want to talk about bright students. This kid already has his degree requirements finished in business. He is working on a degree in mechanical engineering.
Quality, just quality guy. And he's really a kid that's right now to go to the 2-1-2 press. He's got to get a little more active on the inside. I think he's hanging his head a little bit.
Carrawell double teamed, had it knocked away. 11 and a half minutes to go in the game. Duke by 22. They led by 10 at the half.
Have really put on a first-class performance. Rating them on a scale of 10. They're 10 plus tonight.
Maggette kicks that one out of bounds.
They're a Bo Derek plus tonight. Mike Krzyzewski, there he is, Mr. Intensity. 7 times to the Final Four. No, does he want another journey there, but he doesn't want to just get there. His bar is a lot higher. He wants it all, the gold trophy.
They go there to win, don't they?
Yes,
there's a Kesey. Good hustle by he and Brand as they both go to the mat. That will be a possession arrow call, and the ball will go to Duke.
Mike, that's a great point you made, because with Mike Krzyzewski right now, their little philosophy is a lot different, just like it is at Kentucky, who I'll see tomorrow with Tubby Smith. As you look at all these numbers, I mean, take a look at right here. Wow. I mean, it's unbelievable. 43 tournament wins, 7 Final Fours, and most of all, that's what he wants. But you talk Kentucky, you talk about Duke, they want to go there and cut the nets down. For some other schools, it's about just getting to the tournament. Some other schools, it would be a thrill to go to a Final Four. But Duke, they want the gold trophy.
Maggette is held on the way in.
You almost become a victim of your success, because with that success, you put so much pressure in terms of the expectations.
Well, the expectations are always high for Duke. They were so high this year from Maryland that when they lost earlier in the season, it was like some people in Washington were really writing off the year, and that was sort of ridiculous. Here's Avery burying a three. It's 81-56.
Where can't they hurt you? I want somebody to point out where Duke cannot hurt you on the floor.
Dixon, he's had a cold night tonight. 9 out of 20 from long range for Duke this evening.
Wide open.
They are just killing the Maryland Terrapins. Maggette with the follow.
It's blowout city now. It's going to be a long 10 minutes for Maryland. This is blowout city.
83-56. Keep in mind, this is one of the best teams in the country. Profit with the left hand, he'll draw the foul.
You got a feel for Gary. He works so hard. We watched him at the shoot-around today. He really did everything in the way of getting his team ready. There's a look right there. Wake Forest gets beat after loses to Virginia after beating Maryland. I think a great story is Auburn. Auburn is an unbelievable story. Cliff Ellis, one loss, and they're just blowing people away. Lost their star, Chris Porter, who they suspended, and went 3 in a row without him. Played a freshman named Mac McGadney.
Cliff Ellis had some great years as the coach at Clemson.
Listen to that chant, Mike. You talk about Cliff Ellis, they're chanting overrated. You don't want to rub it in now.
No, they are likely to see them again a month from now in the ACC tournament in Charlotte.
You know, you probably have a little problem with expectations because you've been such an absolute star with that voice of yours for years. How do you stay up on top like that?
Do I owe you money or something? Brand with the bucket and draws the foul from Akizi. Everything going Duke's way, and they have earned it.
Eminem tonight, it's a mismatch here in the second half. And I tell you, it looked like Maryland was so focused in that first half. But after Duke took control in the first 4 minutes of the second half, it has been a mismatch.
How about these numbers? Carrawell with 13, Battier 23, Brand 12, Avery 14, Langdon 11, James has 10. 6 guys in double figures.
Krzyzewski 25, putting the game plan together.
That's right. Akizi back the other way. Certainly hasn't given up running the court. 85-59.
They trap, they post up to the open area, use the zigzag pass.
Carrawell, great fake, but then Morris with a terrific block.
If you're Gary Williams right now, you want to make sure your kids don't quit. You want to see them fight. Nice drive.
Beautiful move by Stokes.
Excellent drive. And if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you don't want to see your team get really cocky now and ruin a great performance.
Down the lane, the miss. Tipped outside, 2-on-1. Francis and Profit. Basket won't go, but the foul is going to be on Trajan Langdon. That will be his 3rd. Regional college basketball action this Saturday on ABC Sports at 3 o'clock. Dick will be there as number 1 UConn and number 4 Stanford play. I assume Brent Musburger will be there with you.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
Number 3 Cincinnati and DePaul. Check your local listings to see which game you get. UConn number 1, of course, pending the new poll because they lost to Syracuse in the middle of the week, missing 2 starters because of injury.
I spoke to Brent yesterday, and he said he's feeling fine. Had a little respiratory problem. He'll be down there in Palo Alto. Can't wait to get down there for that environment and see that excellent Stanford team who has not lost at home. I'll tell you right now, if Connecticut were to beat Stanford at Stanford, I would vote for them number 1 if they have their full team, even though they lost to Syracuse.
How many years has it been now since Brent and I have shared the burden?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's been a lot of years. You guys ought to put up with me and Brad Nessler as well.
Brand feeds inside. Let me ask you about your comment that you would vote Connecticut number 1, even after what you've seen Duke tonight against the 6th-ranked team in the country?
I'm not saying that Duke is not the best team in terms of the way they're playing, but I have to give Connecticut a nod that they have not lost with their full cast yet. And if they can go on a road and beat a team that is the quality of Stanford at Stanford, I mean, you got to remember, Duke's at home right now, and Stanford and Connecticut is on the road, and that would be a major win for Connecticut. That's just my feeling.
Elton Brand with the offensive rebound, and he will draw the foul. If that's on Akizi, it will be his 4th.
You know, Mike, it really doesn't matter if you talk to these coaches. The only time number 1 really matters to these guys is when you're cutting the nets down at the end of March.
But it matters to all the fans. That's why
it matters
they have the poll.
No, it matters from the fan standpoint, creating interest and excitement.
And heaven knows it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, have something to debate about. I think where it matters mostly is for that seed. And if you are Duke or you're Connecticut, despite what they say, they can't convince me they wouldn't want to be a number 1 seed in the East where they get in a bus and go to their first 2 rounds.
Maggette in and out. 8 minutes, 37 seconds to go. Oh, look at Maggette get back after missing the shot. He hustled back on defense and made the steal.
Wow, he looked like a big-time defensive back. That was Ronnie Lott style years ago.
No, Ronnie Lott would have knocked him into cheap seats. He wouldn't have even gone for the ball.
Mike, we got a blowout here, and I want to just clarify what I'm saying. Number 1 in the East, the first 2 rounds are in Charlotte or in Boston. If you're Connecticut, you're number 1 in the East, you get in a bus, you go to Boston, and then you go to the Meadowlands for the final. If you're Duke, you get in a bus and you go to Charlotte. They want that.
Big advantage. Brand double teamed. Battier, what presence of mind. He knew the shot clock had run out. That's why he tossed it over his head like that. Francis is fouled. They're going to call a technical on Francis. I tell you what, Francis, I believe that should have been an intentional foul call because he was wrapped up around the body. I think Steve Francis got the worst part of that.
Well, yeah, he did in the terms that they grabbed him, but then he made the mistake right in front of the official.
I'm not trying to absolve him,
He was
but that should have been a 2-shot foul.
Yeah, no question. They grabbed him, and I agree with you. But he should have not lost his cool. See, right there, that's an intentional foul.
Absolutely.
That's an intentional foul. There is no doubt about it, Mike. That's an intentional foul.
Now, to me, they should have called the intentional foul, then turned around and hit him with the technical.
Exactly. There's no question that should have been intentional. And that's frustration right there. Not only being grabbed, but also because of the score.
It's been a struggle for Francis. 4 points in the second half.
Steve Francis on the line for Maryland, 1-1.
He will go to the line to shoot the foul shots, and then Duke will shoot the technical.
And get possession of the basketball. Total frustration right there. Battier certainly didn't mean to harm. He was trying to stop him from the slam dunk in transition.
Francis, a local product, although it was a tough way for him to get to Maryland. He's out of Tacoma Park in the Washington, D.C. suburbs. Went to San Jacinto Junior College, then to Allegheny Community Junior.
Went undefeated in both places.
Yep.
And such a great story about the passing of his mom and how he has the tattoo on his arm. Attributes a lot to his mom. He's really developed to be a fine young guy, and I really believe we're going to see him back at Maryland. Despite all the talk about him going to the NBA, I think he's got a long way in his game yet to still develop, Mike.
Now here's Langdon, who has struggled with his free throws in the last 3 weeks. Done 3 of his games where he's missed 2 in each game. That is very uncharacteristic.
You know, it's amazing when you say he's missed 2 in each game. A lot of guys would take it and go 7 for 9.
Absolutely. He is...
Oh, look at that stroke. He's getting it back.
5 for 7 tonight, but if he wants to win that all-time free throw percentage crown, he's got a ways to go.
Duke leading Maryland by 22 points in large measure because of the play of Shane Battier. When he first got to Duke, he was known as the most fundamentally sound defender that Mike Krzyzewski ever had as a freshman, jumping out into passing lanes, getting scores on the other end. Shane Battier also picked up his offensive game, showing a little bit in the mid-range, putting it up, putting it on the floor, then pulling up for the short jumper as if that wasn't enough. Stepping out and hitting the 3, 23 points to this point in the ballgame. If Shane Battier is going to score for this Duke team, you can forget it, Mike.
I'll tell you one thing, Jay, it sounds like you were describing a player years ago by the name of Jay Billis, fundamentally sound. Why couldn't I have Jay's looks or Brad Daugherty's looks? I'd have a chance to make it in TV. See, I know your wife, Janet, she's cheering tonight because Indiana won. She's on cloud 9. They beat Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's been on fire.
The points and the field goal percentage for Maryland, they have been shooting better than 52% on the year, 40 tonight against that Duke defense.
Maryland's just got to go back home, and they got to get a day away and just regroup for the finish of this season and put away this week that they've had. They can't allow this to destroy a great year because they just have to regroup for the finish of the season.
Now, Gary Williams wondering why the delay. Tim Higgins was talking to Mike Krzyzewski. Now he's going to go down and say something to Gary about the delay. We have 7:54 to go in the ballgame. It's a 22-point lead. 2-on-1 James. Great reversal and fouled by Martisic.
You think about the future when you look at Duke. What a class they're bringing in next year. This kid, Casey Sanders, from my area up in Tampa, 6'11", Mike, and runs the court like you can't believe, blocks shots. And then they bring in a point guard from out of New Jersey. If you talk to Howard Garfinkel of the 5-star fame, I mean, rates him very high. Jason Williams. You talk about bringing in Dunleavy's son, Michael's son. I saw him at the Adidas All-American camp this summer. I mean, he could really stroke the shot. And if they get Carlos Boozer on top of that from Alaska, I mean, wow.
With the guys that are here right now, you'll take a look at Nate James. He got another year of eligibility. He was only in 6 games last year. He's another one of these guys who has had injury problems throughout his career. And, of course, when people get hurt at a high-profile program like this, people say, well, why don't you transfer and go somewhere else? His response was, I love my teammates. I love Duke. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. Now he's getting a lot of quality time. I mean, the way Mike uses the system, he plays 8-9 guys.
Stokes, nice job to get by Avery. Dishes to Martisic. He missed the shot, but drew the foul. Another good job by Terrell Stokes, who is really underappreciated, a much criticized point guard. The first 3 years at Maryland, he is concentrated on running the club, doesn't care about scoring. He leads the ACC in assist-to-turnover ratio, which I think is one of the most important and always overlooked stats there is.
Well, that stat certainly has a lot to do with offensive efficiency, and he had a solid year his senior season.
Martisic at the line, the sophomore from Boston, the first 7-footer ever from Maryland.
North Carolina is certainly a team in the ACC getting better and better. And remember this, they haven't had a full cast. They'll get Jason Capel back in about another week, and that's certainly going to help them. And Cota was out against Georgia Tech. I did the game, and Ron Curry gave him nice minutes at the point guard slot. They won.
Carrawell lost the ball, but it got kicked off a profit out of bounds. The lead is 22 with 7:31 to go in the ball game.
Talk about some great young players that win down in Arizona. They're starting 3 freshmen along with Jason Terry and A.J. Brantlett. Those young kids are winning down at UCLA. I can't wait to go to Paulie Pavilion Sunday with Brent and see Jerome Moeso. Everybody raves about that 6'11 player. And also Dan Gadzuric inside, Jaron Rush, and Baron Davis is back. So a lot of good young players and aggressive teams in the country.
Carrawell for 3, can't hit it. Martisic got his hands on it. Now the buzzer went off, but that's incorrect. It was not a shot clock violation. The ball hit the rim. And a new 35 for the Blue Devils. And now they're going to spread the court a little bit. Mike Krzyzewski going to work on the end game. This is something they may need down the road a piece.
Well, they needed it when they lost to Kentucky last year, up 17, and that Kentucky team responded in such positive fashion. There's a team now. I just see a turnover. Don't count them out. Tubby Smith's kids, Kentucky. I mean, they really are a team at tournament time. Know what winning's about. Wayne Turner's a winner. Certainly, Ashimo Evans is back again now. And also, Scott Padgett's having a big-time year over in the SEC. That's a team I say I wouldn't want to see in a tournament on my side of the draw. They're starting to get that tournament edge, Mike, right now in February as we see that post move inside, they inverted. Mr. Francis, I'm already feeling it's only February.
19 by Francis. He has had a much better night tonight than he did in the first meeting, but it is a 20-point game, so you don't know how significant it is.
Mike, you may not agree with me, and maybe a lot of ACC fans would agree with me. I cannot see this year, because of what we've seen in this conference, more than 3 teams get in the NCAA tournament this year out of the ACC. I don't know who the 4th would be.
I think Florida State has certainly made a case to get in. I think they have played very well.
Yeah, but they're going to have to continue. There's a chance. They have a chance. I agree with you as a chance, but they're going to have to continue that and can't afford a little drought. And it's capable in this league, like they lost the other day at home to Virginia. You can't afford that.
Well, I think if you're 500 in the conference in the ACC, if you don't get in the tournament, you're really getting jobbed. And that's happened to a couple of teams in the last 2-3 years.
I could agree with you more. If you can go 500 in this league, you deserve a shot. But it's going to be difficult for some teams to go 500. The way these 3 teams are dominating up on top.
NC State and Georgia Tech at 4 and 6 would have to make a late season run to get there. Profit, that's blocked by Battier. Battier gets the ball, calls timeout. On the way down, it will be Duke basketball.
I'll tell you, he's playing so hard on both sides. And that's why Mike Krzyzewski really appreciates him from day one. Because, like we said earlier, he's not just a guy offensive-minded. He's got that winner's ability. Look at his smart play. Look at that smart play. Look at that smart play. Graceful as he goes down.
And he was dragging the toes like he was a wide receiver, making sure he didn't go out of bounds. It's just been a magnificent performance by Duke. Morris off the inbound. It's been a tough night for that young man.
Yeah, we haven't heard his name called hardly at all by you tonight, Mr. Patrick.
Loose ball taken away.
There's a foul.
And a reach-in foul on Morris. The frustration will continue The sophomore who has been so exceptional all year long and plays power forward at 210 pounds and can hold his own with anybody.
Yeah, he can go inside, outside. He's got great range, and they'll bounce back. I mean, this team is going to bounce back. I think Gary has too much pride to let them get away and destroy a great year. Remember this, they're still after tonight 19-4.
Well, I think the kids have too much pride, too, and Gary Williams has too much coaching ability.
You know,
Billy Hahn, his longtime assistant.
We were talking about Profit earlier, and there's a kid that gets ripped a lot for the fact they're not coming up big in some big games, but he's got 1,378 career points coming in this game, second in the history of Maryland in steals, 227, over 500 rebounds. I mean, he's had a career that most people would get in the school's Hall of Fame with those numbers.
I think the best thing about Laron Profit, he used to be a gunner. He used to take all sorts of bad shots. He doesn't do it anymore. He plays within the concept of the team, and I think he's done a great job maturing as he's grown into a senior.
I tell you, Shane Battier really working the glass.
Possession arrow on the jump ball will give it to the Terps with 4:44 left.
And the one team that Chris Fowler mentioned, talking about Cincinnati, that team is lethal with their defensive ability, their athletic ability, and their toughness.
I think those uniforms really fit their personality. I mean, Profit with the jam.
And people got to understand, up in Alaska on a neutral floor, they were the only team to beat Duke. And what really impressed me in that win, Duke was down really big, like 17 or 18. They came back, caught Cincinnati with 15 to go on the clock, and Cincinnati still holds on and wins. And that shocked me. Because
Cincinnati did not fold. They just stood up right in the face of it.
Melvin Levin, they're not going to back down. And Kenyon Martin, best perimeter, best inside player defensively, like a human eraser.
Crowd helping on the shot clock, which is down to 3. Langdon with a runner.
Got that little one-handed
offensive rebound to Elton Brand, and he is fouled from behind by Danny Miller. 12th double-double for Elton Brand tonight. 12 points, 11 boards.
That's not a bad night's work. Take a look right here in the championship round. Up in Alaska, the home of Trajan Langdon. They get beat by a deuce. Melvin Levitt was brilliant. They had that special play they worked where they threw the ball in mass to the postman Martin, and he caught Levitt going to the goal for a layup.
Cincinnati was 15th at that point. With a win tonight, Duke will go to 6-0 against top 10 teams this year, but they couldn't beat then number 15.
Well, they had a big win over Kentucky. We did that game in the Jimmy V Classic. Kentucky's got a tough matchup tomorrow. You know, they blew out Florida earlier this year, but Florida with Billy Donovan, I'm going to tell you, at home they're 11-0. I can't wait to get to Gainesville tomorrow with Brad and be part of that game, because that's not going to be an easy game tomorrow at 7:30 when they hook up with Kentucky.
Duke leads the nation, averaging 93.6 points a game. They have scored 90 against Maryland so far. Akese
got it. Nice strong move by Akese going to the basket. In fact, Larry Donnell, who I really respect out of Basketball Times, told me tonight he really feels that Florida's going to get them tomorrow over in Gainesville, the way they shoot the three. Tubby Smith's right now taking it and putting that in the locker room. Coaches
always
like
that bulletin board material.
Coaches like that. You think I've given some coaches some bulletin board material?
Oh, yeah. Good part is you give it to both of them at the same time.
Oh, what's your back home? Is that a backward?
Avery, as they work on the clock, shot clock running down. Great penetration. Dished it off, then Carrawell couldn't hit the shot. Langdon just before the buzzer. Brand nearly tipped it in. Baxter with the outlet. Profit, nice save. Miller. And he's fouled.
Elton Brand was a tight end over in Peekskill. He looks like he could be a great tight end. Maybe be a Keith Jackson, but got smart and said the heck with football. His mother wanted him to get into martial arts. Oh, there's the mom. There's the mom. That's right. That's her guy, Elton Brand.
Well, that's all you need. To be faced by a guy who's 6'8", 260, and he says, by the way, I know karate.
Wow. You just feel the love as you see her sitting in the stands looking at her son, how proud. And it's so beautiful to see the moms right there. I mean, you know, she makes that journey from Peekskill down here because of the affection and the love she has for her guy. So many parents here, people don't understand what they feel sitting in the stands.
90-73, exactly 3 minutes left.
You spend your days, and probably more evenings than you'd care to admit,
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by the Pontiac Sunfire, hot set of wheels, money left to burn, and by First Union, your guide to the financial world.
We're at Duke, finishing up the last 3 minutes of Maryland and the Blue Devils. Coming up next, Sports Center. Join Kenny Mayne and Dan Patrick. Brad Doherty will have a report on this game, as well as the St. John's upset, and a report on Brad Johnson's future.
Where's he going? Where's he going, that quarterback?
I don't know, but wherever he goes, he is going to be the next NFL quarterback superstar. I can guarantee you. He is a great, great player with a tremendous future.
You would know. You sat there for 23 weeks calling that action. You, Theismann, and McGuire. Love you. I thought you three were tremendous
Thanks.
today.
We had a fun year, Dick.
Freddie Godelli producing.
Reach in by Baxter with 2:32 on the clock. Maryland still playing very hard on defense, trying to make something happen, down by 17. And Duke has been a little lackadaisical on offense. They've scored only 5 points in the last 7 minutes. The Terps had done a brilliant job all year long, leading the ACC or number 2 all year long in field goal percentage defense. Tonight, Duke has shot only 42%.
Well, they're going to do that because they have so many people on the inside that really can block shots with Akizi and Terrence Morris. And they're so quick, and they really have a lot of guys up there in the steal leadership in the conference because of the trapping defenses. What's happened against Duke, and Davey Odom said it the best, their style of play, Maryland, really falls right into the hands of Duke. They love the traps, they love the pressure, they pass the ball so well, they shoot the ball so well. When you're doubling up, you're leaving people open. And when people are open, these guys can make shots.
It's going to be interesting. Larry Conley and I will be in Atlanta this weekend to do Duke and Georgia Tech. Tech has been really up and down all year long. And when they've played well, they have been dangerous. It will be interesting to see what Duke does after this huge win. Will they have a letdown?
Well, you know, the one thing, I don't think so with Mike Krzyzewski. He doesn't allow that to happen. I heard him speak to the team in a private session where he told them after a big win over Kentucky, he said, let me tell you something. He said, I've been around a lot of great teams here. I've been fortunate enough to coach 2 national championship teams, so I know what winners are about. And when I had those clubs, they were special, as we see the turnover, in that they understood they came to play every night, no matter who we play. Before I can say you guys are great, you got to prove to me that you come to play against everybody.
This will be 22-1 for Duke. The Terrapins, who desperately wanted to get that 20th win tonight, will fall to 19-4 and will have lost 2 in a row in the ACC, coming off that Wake Forest upset.
And like I said, they got to put this away this week, take a day off, and just clean it out and try to finish really strong.
Battier double-teamed is going to call a timeout. 34 straight at home. And when you look at what Duke has done in the last 38 ACC games, this is the ACC, not any conference, the ACC.
It's not Cupcake City.
They are 35-3
wow.
in their last 38 conference
and
games.
two of those losses to North Carolina. There's their home court winning streak. You think about teams that really had great streaks in the ACC, and they all had Player of the Year guys.
Yes, they did.
Duke, Christian Laettner. NC State was David Thompson. Virginia was Ralph Sampson. I mean, you talk about David Thompson. I got a letter the other day, a fan irate with me. I'll tell you, Mike, and that's unbelievable. He said, how can I possibly say that David Thompson was the best player ever to play the ACC when there was a guy in the league by the name of Michael Jordan?
Because you saw him play.
David Thompson in college was unbelievable.
Yes,
he really, to me, was the definition of a small forward. Michael Jordan was a great college player, but he became an unbelievable player when he went to the next level.
Carrawell is Duke just working on its slowdown game with a 17-point lead. Battier, why not? He's done everything else.
I hope Dan Patrick and Kenny Mayne got all the highlights to make tonight. The star of stars, Shane Battier, part of Sports Center. I mean, Patrick used to be able to stroke the jump shot. You should have seen him stroke it. Digger Phelps trying to recruit him at high school, went to Dayton.
I've seen those locker room promos he does now. It doesn't look like he can hit it anymore.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I watched the promo when he was shooting one time that they did with him. He was unreal.
I got a kid, Dan. Everybody in the Patrick family has to stick together.
Hey, let me tell you this, Mike. You know, best way to describe David Thompson, to me, David Thompson in college was what Michael Jordan was in the NBA.
That's an excellent description. For people who never saw David Thompson play, he had a 44-inch vertical jump. Do you know how high 44 inches is? I mean, for us, that comes up to like our chin.
And years ago, they didn't have the kind of methods they have today. The trainers do a phenomenal job. Look at his smile. I'd be smiling if I had a performance like that. He knows he's walking on campus tomorrow. He's going to be the man of men. But, you know, you think about that NC State team. They went undefeated in I believe it was 1973. Didn't lose a game. They were on probation. And then Norm Sloan the following year, they had lost to UCLA, rebounded, came back, beat UCLA in the NCAA semis, and then beat Al McGuire in North Carolina for the national title.
It is also so difficult to compare players from different eras because kids change and the games change. I'll still say the best guy I ever saw was Jerry West.
Oscar wasn't too bad either.
No, he wasn't.
The greatest ever to lace him up, Mike. I don't think it's even debatable anymore. It has to be Michael. He did things that defy even description.
20 points is the margin. Duke with a tremendous performance tonight. What hustle by Francis. The steal of Profit.
Laurent Profit with the score. Battier finally made a mistake.
What a great effort that is by Francis in a meaningless situation. Giving it up, going to the floor, trying to get the ball.
It's Battier tonight. He's the star of stars. Get ready for some highlights on SportsCenter with Dan and Kenny.
Shane Battier, a career-high 27 points, 9 rebounds. The final score, 95-77. For Dick Vitale and Jay Billis, this is Mike Patrick. Good night from Durham, North Carolina. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Part of Go Network. Go.com. Good night, everybody.